Okay, everyone, welcome to our fellowship assembly for January. So happy to have you all here. I think we'll start with just a very quick round. Most of us know each other, but we do have some guests tonight. So if you just simply, your names, most of them are on the screen, just tell us which club you're with and where you're located, please. And I'll start over with to my extreme right. We'll start with Kitty in Ontario.
Oh, yes. Hi, good evening. I'm Kitty. I'm in Ontario, and I am an associate member of the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1, the best club.
Okay. Irene.
Hi, my name is Irene Makar. I'm applying, or I'm going to be inducted as a new member to this club today.
Very good.
Yay.
David?
I'm muted. Okay. David Werrett, I'm in Cochrane, Alberta, member of the Rotary Club of Canada 1.
Good. And DG Jim.
Hi, everybody. I'm a charter member of the Rotary Club of Canada 1 and coming to you from Skeleton Lake, Alberta, which is about 2 hours northeast of Edmonton. Glad to be here.
Great. And for those of you who have not met Jim, he is our current district governor, and we're very of District 5370, and we're pretty proud to say he's from this club. First time from an E-Club. Stacy. She has herself muted there. I'll come back to you, Stacy. Vicki?
I'm Vicki Horsfield. I'm a member of the club, been a member for 5 years, I think. And I am currently in Guatemala.
Thank you. Stacy?
I am Stacy from Florida, and I'm one of your regular visitors.
Thank you. Jim Kenyon.
Hi, I'm Jim, a refugee from the Yukon and a member of this club for a couple of years now.
Make sure you have Danny and
Can I just ask people who are not talking to mute themselves, please? We have a lot of background noise right now. There. That's great. Thank you so much. Craig Burke.
Hi, I'm Craig Burke. I'm from St. Albert, Alberta, and I'm a new member of the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1.
Thank you. Jean.
Jean-Michel Crépin from the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1, charter member and presently treasurer.
Thank you. Kit.
Judy Brown, Medicine Hat, Alberta Rotary Club, but associate member of Rotary E-Club of Canada 1. So Alberta.
Alberta. Judy.
Hi, Judy Brown, and I'm a member of RECCO, and I'm currently living in Ajijic, Mexico, here in the winter, and in the summer living at Pigeon Lake, Alberta.
Oh, great. And Bonnie's iPad.
Okay, it's Bonnie's iPad, but I'm Lyle Radcliffe from Markdale, Ontario, and I'm a member for probably the last 7 or 8 years, District 6330. And I'm a curious person from Markdale.
Great. Dietrich.
Muted.
I'll come back to you there in a minute. Patrick?
Hi there. I'm also a member of the Markdale Rotary Club and just on to check things out tonight, see how everybody's doing. And I brought wine.
Very good. That's important. And Bryce?
Hello. Hi, Bryce, RECCO member out in Edmonton, Alberta. And that's all I got.
That's great. And Dietrich, we'll try you again.
Thank you. I'm now unmuted. I'm an associate of the associate member kit to your club, and I take some responsibility for Rotary browsing. We had just joined the meeting of the Rotary Club of Markdale and dragging on me being a guest, some other guests who will have already introduced themselves.
Great. And Ellie?
Hello, everybody. I am a member of RECCO, founding member, past district governor, and we currently reside in Mexico. And with me here is
Ramiro Contreras,
a member of
the Soyuz Rotary Club.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Well, it's, as I said, a pleasure to have you all here tonight. So I'm going to start off, for those of you who aren't members of our club, we just wanted to recognize the passing of our former friend and colleague and past president of the club, Peter Denoy. We had lost him suddenly last year to pancreatic cancer. It was on the 9th of January. So dynamic person, friend to all of us, and great family man. And his partner, Ileana Marino, is an honorary member of our club. So we did pay tribute to him this week in our weekly bulletin, but just wanted to mention that. It hardly seems it's been a year, but still miss him a lot for sure. So tonight, our theme, of course, for all of Rotary is vocational service. And we are honored tonight to have some of our members share some of their thoughts related to vocational service. And really, vocational service is how we all use our various classifications for the good of the club and for ourselves, and honor the object of Rotary. And you might have noticed we had it up when you first logged in, the 4 different objects of Rotary. We're all, I'm sure, quite familiar. For newer members, it's a way basically to get very involved in the club and do through projects and using your classification in various areas. So I'll start off with perhaps Vicki, if you could tell us how you serve Rotary under your classification. Maybe tell us what your classification is and then how you do that. You're just muted there, Vicki.
There we go. I believe my classification is education, which was my most recent career before I came to Guatemala. And I taught in an adult education center. I taught sciences and math. And our population of students was made up 50% of immigrants, a lot of whom had come from war-torn countries. And the other half were Canadians who had either dropped out of high school or been kicked out of high school. Most of them came from dysfunctional families where there was violence and drug abuse and alcohol abuse. And most of them were on welfare, and their social worker convinced them to take advantage of a provincial program that paid for people on welfare to go back to school and get their high school leaving and perhaps go on farther. And I loved my job. I thought I would do this job until they took me out in a box. But, and my greatest joy was helping them to succeed in learning, because most of them came with a lot of fear about education, low self-confidence. They hadn't had good experiences in school. And so they came somewhat reluctantly. And so my goal was always to try and help them believe in themselves and believe that they could succeed. So I had the honor of watching them grow in self-confidence. And the result of that was that they started to believe that education could change their lives. So when I came to Guatemala, I came for selfish reasons, because I came to go to language school to improve my Spanish, but fell in love with Guatemala and felt like I had come home. And so it was an easy transition to go from education in Canada to education in Guatemala, where people also struggled and suffered. And one of the things that makes me want to continue to serve these kids is I look at kids and I question what potential lies within them that would not otherwise be developed if they didn't get an education. And whenever I do talks to Rotary clubs or other places where I'm trying to do fundraising, I always end with a picture of Einstein and a quote that says, "Imagine if Einstein had been born poor." And that means that he would not have developed the potential within him, but also those of us in the world, in society, would not have benefited from all the discoveries that he made and contributed to society that we all benefit from. And these kids in our organization who are sponsored to go in school, who otherwise would not be in school because their parents don't have the funds to provide schooling for them, are so grateful, and they're so motivated and so hardworking. And the other thing is they continue to be in awe that there is some stranger somewhere else in the world who is willing to spend some money to ensure that they get an education to change their future. And I want to end on a note to thank all of our members for sponsoring Fatima, which you just decided at a board meeting. She's a girl who's going into junior high, and her parents have struggled these last 8 or 9 months because of the pandemic, and they were not going to be able to send her to school, and she was desperate to keep studying. So I'm really grateful to you, and she's really grateful to you. And the other side of that is it's really important in countries like Guatemala that girls continue to go to school, because if they don't, then they fall into that old cultural trap of starting to have babies at an early age, and they just continue the generational cycle of poverty. So you guys are making sure that Fatima does not fall into that trap, but grows in the potential that she has within her. So thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. That's awesome. So let's move on to Bryce. And Bryce's classification is media production. So tell us about how you serve your classification in Rotary, Bryce.
Thank you, Tammy, and thank you so much, Vicki. Yeah, so I'm gonna start my timer and make sure, because I tend to ramble, so I'm gonna make sure that I all right. So yeah, so media production, we're my self-employed virtual event production company. We do audio visual services, which, you know, blew up in 2020 due to the COVID and pandemic. And so where we are, and what I like to do with that is keeping people engaged, keeping people informed, but also like streamlining processes with media and communication, creating messaging that's impactful and effective. You know, I started with Rotary as not a Rotary member a little over 18 years ago, doing production for Rotary Dinner Theater, which raised money for a number of projects all across the world through various other organizations. That was all, you know, orchestrated by Rotary members. I was able to go with Rotary, again, Rotary member, to go to Africa and do documentary work on Rotary funded projects and to show the outcomes. And so I love that, love storytelling and connecting people and making connections that have positive and effective outcomes. And I think with the 4-way test, a big way that we can, or the big way that I administer the 4-way test into my work and my day-to-day with my vocational skills, you know, really revolves around when you're telling a story, you know, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned when it comes to, you know, are we telling both sides of the story? Are we being objective with our, you know, with the outlook, and are we being, you know, judgmental with what we see? Again, with storytelling and with Rotary and a lot of the jobs that we, will it build goodwill and better friendships? I think that's always the case. We host a production called Alberta Impact, where we're always looking for the positives, and we're always trying to make those connections, which is friendships that can you know, catapult more change and better outcomes in different fields, whether that's Rotary projects or whether that's businesses meeting the right businesses to bring up that next piece of technology for clean energy and resources, or a better fuel economy, and so on and so forth. And then and then of course, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Absolutely. I mean, again, every one of the stories that we tell, it always has either information, and it's always driving, again, good change and good effect. So yeah, for vocational, I think we treat our employees as best we can. You know, I'm a big proponent to treat those under the way you want to be treated. So if you don't want to get knocked in the schnoggin, don't hit someone in the schnoggin. I got a martial arts background, so I always go to the physical. But it happens the same way when it comes to emotional as well. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And we try and, yeah, definitely carry that forward with all of our projects with both our clients and our employees. and Rotary fits right in there with that. So I think I got 33 seconds left. Nailed it. All right.
Very good. And for our guests as well, Bryce is going to be for our president-elect in the next Rotary year. So this is all good training for you, Bryce. And his company also produced our first ever virtual conference, which was a major success. Over 400 people attended. So we're very proud to have him in our club. So let's move on to what the four-way test means to you. And we'd like to ask Judy Brown to share her thoughts with that theme of Rotary, please.
Well, one of the reasons that I joined Rotary in 1992 was because of Rotary's high ethical standards, which were in line with mine in my business and in my personal life. The four-way test is as relevant now as it was when it was developed in 1932, I think. The questions can be applied to any situation, a simple checklist for ethical behavior. I used it in my company anytime that there was a dilemma. My employees were asked to use it always. I used it as a guide at home and with my children. When I was district governor in 2003-04, there were several instances where clubs were in a quandary about various ethical problems. I always said, let's find the answer by applying the four-way test. Then the answer was clear. Today, more than ever, I think, with all that's happening in the world, the four-way test is needed, especially in politics. Imagine if the politicians asked the four questions each time they were about to do something. What a better world this would be. There'd be no more corruption. The best we can do, though, as Rotarians is to lead by example and practice the four-way test always. And that's what I try to do. So I'm under my 4 minutes, but
Very good. Thank you so much, Judy. So I'm going to turn things over now to Ellie to talk about our newest inductee into the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1.
Well, thank you, Tammy. I'm doing this kind of ad lib because Sharon, who is our membership chair, is not here today. So I'm just going to over some of the information that I have from Irene, who's going to be inducted today as an active member. Irene Makar. She is a former Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Edmonton and has held president-elect, has been a director, secretary, sergeant at arms, International Service Committee, and at district levels, she has been a certified facilitator at the Leadership Institute and volunteered with the foundation and processed district grants. That's always a good asset to have. Her professional and Rotary classification is policy innovation. Wow, advisor should say. So I believe that Irene will make an excellent active member of our club, and we're looking forward to her participation. I believe she has expressed an interest in international service, and that's all I can tell you right now. So District Governor Jim is going to do the official induction.
Well, thanks a lot, Ellie, and welcome everybody. It's always a real pleasure to induct somebody into our E-Club. And I'd like to welcome you, Irene, to the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1. We're pleased to have you here as an active member. And with your background in Rotary, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our E-Club. Started in 2012, formally chartered on February 23rd of 2013, which, as you know, is the anniversary date of Rotary, which started in 1905 on the same date. Our club was the very first e-club in Canada, founded by Charter President and past District Governor Ellie Contreras, and has been very active in service ever since. Our main community service project has been through the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, where we've been supplying books to mostly Native children in the Beaufort Sea area for years now. Internationally, the club was able to partially fund and coordinate the building of a water pipeline project in Sabarana, Honduras that totaled over 120,000 US. These are just two examples of what our e-club has accomplished over the years. We have members all over the globe in areas like the USA, Guatemala, England, and Germany, for example, but even though we're spread out, we still have some amazing acts of service in the world. And we're very excited to have you as an active member in our e-club and are looking forward to your contributions in our committees. So on behalf of District 5370 and all the members in it, I'd like to welcome you to our Rotary family.
Thank you, Jim. And here's your official membership certificate, Irene. I'll be sending you one in the mail along with a nameplate and pins. And thank you so much for considering our club. You were referred here, I believe, by, was it Jim who actually referred you to our club? So great for us to have some new members with some new enthusiasm and lots of skills that we can use for sure. So our next order of business tonight is a classification talk from one of our newer members, Craig Burke, who introduced himself earlier. So are you ready to go, Craig? Can I turn it over to you?
Especially if you want to unmute.
Yeah, just need to unmute yourself there.
It works better that way. Thank you, President Tammy. And good evening, fellow Rotarians. I want to thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself and give you a snapshot of who I am and what has driven me over my working life. So I grew up in a small southern Alberta town, the town of Hanna, population about 3,000 people. To give you a concept, Hanna is kind of the real-life equivalent of the old Andy Griffith show, Town of Mayberry, or in a more modern example, the Dog River town in Saskatchewan for the Corner Gas fans. We had the busy main street, the quiet residential streets. We had the town police, the barber shops, the gas station. We had it all. We even had a little fishing hole. You knew everybody and everybody knew you. And what that actually gave me was that shaping of a sense of community, that neighborhood sharing. And I know that I've taken that small town knowledge throughout my entire working life. Hanna was primarily a railroad town, and my dad moved there in the 1940s as a watchmaker to service the railroad. He opened a retail jewelry store, and that store remained in our family for almost 60 years. And it was the career path for myself and my 4 brothers. But I was in the hippie era, so I did the mandatory year in Europe hitchhiking, lived in Rome on a rooftop, begged for money in a railroad station in Paris, spent the month of October in Munich doing Oktoberfest, grew my hair down to way long, drank way too much wine, and generally lived a life of peace. But eventually there was no money and I had to come back and do something. So I went to college, and with a business degree, I joined the ranks of the jewelry world, and I traveled Western Canada in the diamond business. I called on jewelry stores and department stores from Prince Rupert, BC, through what was known as the Northwest Territories and the Yukon, and as far east as the other side of Thunder Bay. There is probably not, and I know this, a highway in Western Canada that I haven't driven. I used to take maps and draw them, and I used to go odd routes just so I could say that I'd been on that highway. So I did that for about 12 or 13 years, and I was married during that time. And, you know, I would leave my wife for a month at a time as I hit the road. But somehow we had 2 children, and somehow we tended, a strange fact, we moved 27 times. So we've now been married 44 years. And one of our bigger moves was to Winnipeg, not by choice, that was a mandatory move. But then I had the opportunity to move back to Hannah and take over the family retail business. And then my brothers and I grew that into 17 stores in Alberta. And it was a great time. We enjoyed raising our children in a small town where they could learn the sense of community. But wanderlust hit us again. And in '92, we sold the store and bought a campground in Vernon, BC. And we had 140 RV sites. It was open year round. We did that for a number of years. Discovered Salmon Arm. We just happened to go up there one time, loved it. So we moved there and lived there for, I think, 8 years. And then I became a real estate agent. And with that, I sold real estate no matter where we moved, and we moved a lot of times. We owned a bottled water processing plant, manufactured home parks. And in 2005, we moved back to BC into a little resort on a lake in Macleese Lake, northern BC. And I gotta say, to prairie boys, that was kind of like the epitome of a dream, to live in a log house on a picturesque, crystal clear BC lake, go fishing all day long if you weren't riding the ATV or sitting by the campfires with the campers. Now, we all know that didn't really happen. We all know that I worked 16 hours a day and I never got to go fishing. And most of the time I was putting inebriated campers to bed at 2 in the morning. That was our life. And getting up at 6 to rent the boats out to the fishermen. But we did live in a 60-year-old log house. It was surrounded by old growth fir trees. We had wonderful family clients. And it was a great life-work balance for a number of years. But my daughter happened to do that strange thing in life, and she got married and had grandchildren. And we all know what that means. So my wife and I spent a lot of time back in Edmonton visiting family and the kids. So we finally decided we'd move back. So we sold the resort and started a real estate business in St. Albert, where we've been pretty much ever since. So we'd spend 7 or 8 months a year selling real estate. And then we discovered Mexico. So we discovered this little city of Manzanillo, where we went down, bought a condo, happened to be neighbors of this couple, Ellie and Romero. And we became good friends. But little did I know what was going to happen to me in the rest of my life meeting them. Because anybody who knows her can attest, Ellie has this subtle and sometimes not so subtle way of promoting her passionate role as a volunteer and Canadian coordinator of Project Amigo, and her huge promotion of the world of Rotary. And Project Amigo, as many of you I'm sure aware of, is a very successful organization for educational opportunities for disadvantaged children in a remote part of the mountains of the state of Colima in Mexico. And a great deal of the reason for their success you can attribute to Ellie. Ellie is the backbone of the Canadian Pax Society, and she has been the driving force. My wife and I made a lot of forays up into Cofradia and to where Project Amigo has its facilities. And about a year ago, I joined the board of directors for the Canadian Pax Society. And it was, I tell you that because it was the Project Amigo that gave me my introduction to Rotary. Because as you know, Rotary is the primary, or was the primary funder of Project Amigo. And, you know, I watched the board of directors who are Rotarians. I listened to people on the work weeks, and I just knew that I had to find out more about this world. So after observing some of these meetings, with Ellie's guidance, I joined the Rotary Society under the Rotary Club of E-Club of Canada. And I understand that this classification top was meant to give you into an insight into my career or my chosen career path, and probably enhance the opportunities for applying my business knowledge to some networking and help for Rotary. But because we've had so many different career paths, I thought I needed to understand what was the common thread in all of that and how I could apply that. And I realized that the most important aspect of everything that I've done has been my ability to assist people. So whether it was providing great customer service in the wholesale and retail jewelry world, whether giving a great holiday experience to my resort clients, whether the satisfaction of finding the perfect house for a real estate client, it was always about the people. So I joined Rotary, not just to go to meetings, but because it gave me an insight into the portal of this group of sharing people. My wife, I've done an awful lot of volunteering over the years. I think for 35 years, I've helped out with Ducks Unlimited Canada for wetland and wildlife protection and preservation. I've sat on many volunteer boards and directorships in the business world, helped out with a lot of sports organizations, and we've always been involved in community action. I was once asked actually to chair a professional rodeo, and I have no idea why I said yes. It was a very successful rodeo, but what they failed to tell me, and any of you know anything about rodeo, is that on opening night, there's this massive grand parade, and a rodeo chairman is required to ride a horse in with all the cowboys and cowgirls. Never been on a horse in my life. So I'm in pure terror sitting on this horse, realizing I have to gallop around this arena. But I was lucky because one of the cute rodeo queens stayed right with me, held the bridle while I held the saddle horn in pure terror and rode around in front of 2,000 people in this arena. And I knew every one of them. Not my prouder moment, but I do anything for volunteering and for the community. This is a new chapter in my life. I am waiting for a new hip. I've been waiting for 2 years under our current health system. And I had great news yesterday. I only bring this up because we thought that elective surgeries were put off for a few months, and I actually had my date moved up. So in 2 months from now, I will get my new bionic leg, I guess, and I'll be able to get back on to normal activities. I am personally involved in project-based activities. I am hoping to be able to help some in Project Amigo, and I'm hoping that I can help in some small manner with this club in whatever activities we take on in the future. And again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Craig. That was very interesting. You have a colorful background and lots of good additions to our club as well. I'm sure you'll make a good impact. So that's pretty much our program for tonight, and I'm going to open the floor now if anybody would like to ask questions to Craig or any comment on any of the other aspects of our program tonight. And just remind you that we do this every third Tuesday of the month. So we'll be looking forward to seeing some of you back in February. Go ahead, Patrick.
Craig, you said you had to move back to Winnipeg. You said it was mandatory. Was that when you were working for the diamond industry? And was it that to do with your career or?
Yeah, yes, it was the territory of the Northwest Territories, Manitoba and the Lakehead had opened up, and I was given that opportunity, they used to call it, and moved to Winnipeg. Mind you, I love Winnipeg. I can't say anything bad about Winnipeg. Other than 30 below on Main Street. That's another story.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Craig, did you have other family members involved in the jewelry business?
It started with my uncle in the 30s, and then my dad, and our stores were called Burke's Jewelers. And I'd love to tell you that Henry was my uncle, but it's not true. Our name was spelled differently. But we did have all my brothers, cousins in the business, and we had stores all over Alberta and BC.
There used to be Burke's Jewelers in Stony Plain.
That was my younger brother.
We actually started a pharmacy in his old location. So.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
My mother-in-law used to live in Hannah. Her name was Thelma Fitzsimmons. Do you know that family?
I know the Fitzsimmons family. Yeah, they big in horses. Not a world I knew much about, but
That's right. Her husband actually died from being thrown off a horse.
Is that right? Yeah, yeah. I have a sister and mother.
There's Burke's Jewelers in Ontario as well. And I want to show you something, Craig. 2 hips. That's what it's going to look like, sweetie.
Oh, right.
And I asked if we get a card for when we go through the airport to because we'll set off the metal detectors, and they said no, you have to show your scars. And I thought, in an international airport, I'm going to lift my skirt. Come on. Good luck, Craig.
You know, I never thought that how will affect the travel, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to lift your skirt.
Yeah.
Drop my drawers, one of the two.
I want to be Scottish, man. I want to be Scottish.
The difference between a kilt and a skirt for a Scotsman is underwear. Kilt, you don't wear any.
Mute.
I might as well jump in with all of the discussion and the distribution of people tonight. When I first graduated, Ostranders was another jewelry line that was big in Ontario, and we bought the old Ostrander farm in Mount Forest, Ontario, and started my practice there, and have practiced quite extensively in Markdale, Ontario. So I know it very, very well. Good to see a representation from Markdale. That's fantastic.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, just while I got the Markdale people, and I can actually say it, is Lloyd Warringah and Gay still living in Markdale?
So Lloyd's in the hospital right now. He's not doing very well. But yeah, they're both still in Markdale. Awesome people.
If you've got an email or any way of an address and getting to the hospital, he was sort of an early mentor, and I'd love to be able to.
Yeah, I would be happy to send you his email. Just so you know, though, he is not expected to make it out of the hospital.
Oh God.
A wonderful vet.
He was. Even if he did he graduated from Ontario, but he was originally from Holland. Yeah, definitely a crazy Dutchman.
Yeah, Jim, I'll send it to you in a message right now.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
David, did you have your hand up? I just caught it. No?
No.
Okay, okay, that you did.
Flapping earlier. No, but I will comment, maybe Craig and I crossed paths somewhere across the prairies in our travels. At one time, my territory stretched from Thunder Bay to the Alberta, Saskatchewan border. And then years on, I was also covering Vancouver.
I remember that night in Estevan. Now that you've
Oh dear,
yes,
you don't.
That was you.
I was with somebody, and we went in the US and had a drink, and then discovered that the border crossing had closed at midnight, and the fellow I was with didn't have enough gas to get to North Portal, so we ran the border.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's good. Anybody else have any questions or comments? You're all very quiet tonight.
Yes, haven't had enough to drink yet.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to a new member.
Cheers.
For
Yes.
yourself.
Exactly. So maybe tell us something about your club in Markland. What kind of projects are you working on these days, Patrick?
Not a whole terrible lot in the way of projects right now. Like COVID's really kiboshed everything for us. So I started a Rotaract club, and it did a big online fundraiser for the hospice, and they raised 23,000.
Wow.
Yeah, which was great for our community. And then
Ask him who lost. Ask him who lost that one.
I purposely lost though. Like I had people donate to the other candidates. So it was a competition. We were doing like these ridiculous videos that we were putting out online for people to follow, and then you would contribute to like your favorite candidate. And whoever lost the competition would have to like make a music video and publish it online. So I did some MC Hammer, and it was pretty good. But the whole competition was a lot of fun. Right now we're considering doing like a Rotary book, a cookbook. But yeah, just not a whole lot going on. I'm pretty eager for springtime. I think the expected vaccination time for most of us in Ontario, from what they were saying, was September. So if that could be a reality, then we could do something maybe in the fall. So
Patrick, talk about the Frisbee.
Sorry, Kit, I can't hear you.
Talk about the Frisbee Park, the Frisbee Project. No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, so that's still a go. So right now we are clearing some trails. We're going to make a Rotary Frisbee golf course in our Rotary Park. Chapman's Ice Cream, who is our primary manufacturer and essentially job creator in our area, has donated some land for our use. Yeah, and we're going to put in a 9-hole Frisbee golf course. So that is also one of our projects for the spring that we can do outside. That's kind of, you know, apart, and yeah, it's something to keep us moving forward.
Very good.
Oh, it's wonderful ice cream.
Oh yes.
I love Chapman's.
We do
Yeah,
too.
probably the best in Canada. Well, certainly the best in Canada. Yeah,
Woohoo!
absolutely.
It's terrible. Like they're our primary ice cream provider and employer, and I'm just not an ice cream guy. But I will definitely buy Chapman's just for the sake of.
We lived there when the old place was there before it burned down.
Oh
and
yeah.
If you went up, the crushed cartons they'd sell for like $1. So we'd always go up and from Mount Forest and fill the freezer with Chapman's ice cream. Lived on it.
Yeah, Ashley is one of our members.
Ashley is a member too.
Yeah, so he's
Really?
the vice president, and they're a great group. They're incredibly charitable, and they, like, our community just wouldn't exist without them at this point. When they burnt down, they got so many offers from like London, Ontario, and places that were willing to provide them with free land, and they chose to stay in Markdale to help rural Ontario. So we are incredibly appreciative of that.
If memory serves, wasn't it Chapman's that offered to bring in a -70 freezer for the Pfizer vaccine if necessary?
They did, yeah.
They did it on their own.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
Wow.
so our little rural town will hopefully be getting vaccines a little quicker. So.
And named their one of their ice cream lines after Yukon. So thank them for that.
Jim, I'm dating somebody from Alaska right now, so pretty close.
yeah, that's the part. We drive south to Alaska. Yeah.
Nice.
That's good. Okay, anyone else have anything good to share tonight? How about a piece of, really good, something good that's going on in your part of the world?
We can't tell.
You can't tell?
Keeping it secret.
Exactly.
You'll all be jealous.
Can I tell?
Yes.
I have some good news.
Yes.
Of course.
A group here called She Cycles, which is a women's group of cyclists, did a fundraiser in November, and 3 of our students participated. It was an 84-kilometer ride through mountainous Guatemala.
Wow.
And they raised quite a few funds for us, but today they came back to visit, and they brought the district governor for Honduras, Guatemala, and Belize, who I found out lives in my town, which I didn't know before, and another fellow who is part of a movement called plogging, which is jogging while you pick up litter along the highway. And our new Rotaract Club, one of their projects is an environmental project. And the first step that they want to do is to clean up our village and get more garbage cans put around because there are only 3 in the Central Park. And so the She Cycles group said, we want to participate, and brought this fellow from Plogging and brought the district governor. And so we're going to make a date, and they're all going to join us, and they're going to bring friends. And the Plogging guy told me that they have done this before, and they invited people from the British Embassy to join them. And so I have a contact in the Canadian Embassy here in Guatemala City, and I'm going to call them and invite them to come and pick up garbage with us.
Very good, Vicki. That's amazing.
I'll post some when it happens.
Yeah, do that. Your Rotaract Club is really taken off.
They are so active and they're so keen. They have made muffins. They're going to make ice cream. They've planted macadamia trees. They've rescued something like 22 dogs and gotten them vaccinated and castrated and adopted out. And they're just go-getters.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing.
You have someone in the background there behind you. There was.
Who is that?
There's a burglar behind you.
Yeah. Ellie, did you want to give us a little quick update on the eSatellite Club?
Sure. You know, talking about the younger generation, boy, Rotary will keep going on forever if we can get more of these younger people. We have 9 young professionals that have applied for membership in a satellite club, and they're ready to send in their application to RI. And I have advised District Governor Jim of this event, and I'm in contact with RI President nominee designate Jennifer Jones, and hoping that she's available either the 20th of February or the 27th to do the actual induction, or so I'm just still waiting for her to confirm a date. So we're really excited, and there's a lot of emails going back and forth. And David, you may be interested to know that Linda, who was a former youth exchange student in your former Cochrane Club, is going to be chair of this group.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah. And Nina from Finland, who was a member youth exchange student in Jim Ferguson and I, District Governor Jim and myself, were in the same club in Stony Plain. And Nina Salorante is also very much involved. So it's going to be great for our club. We really gonna get a lot of exposure. And I sent this to about 15 different districts that we accept more applications if they get in contact with their former Rotary alumni. So
you've got about another 20 names. Do you think, how many of those do you think are possibilities? Or they just waiting for things to get going?
Yeah, well, in some of cases, it's a financial issue. It's the budget, you know, the cost of membership, because some of them are studying. So, or, you know, timing, they're busy with careers or whatever. But they will start bringing in more people once they start going. Yeah. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. So again, for our guests, we do our weekly meetings online. We're known as Rotary On Demand. You do the meetings when you want and where you want, and we encourage you to take a look at our website. We actually have the editor here tonight. Kitty, to my right, does an excellent job of our weekly meetings, and we also have a weekly bulletin and lots of contributions to that. So, and with Bryce's expertise, you never know what we'll be doing in the future, but certainly encourage you to do that. If you're looking to do a makeup for your own club, or just simply to come on to see what we're up to, we love to have guests, and we just ask for a small donation in lieu of a meal to our club, which goes towards our projects. So thank you very much, everybody. Jim, did you want to say anything in closing? Or you?
No, it's just, hearing about a new club being started in our district is fantastic news. And believe me, it's one of the best things a district governor does is to attend a new member induction into a club. So congratulations, Irene.
Thank
And
you very
welcome to our E-Club. And I really enjoyed the meeting tonight.
Thank you so much. Okay, so hopefully we'll see some of you, our guests, back again next month or another month. Keep an eye out on our bulletin or our website for the next event. And of course, it's Rotary International's birthday in February too, so we can all celebrate in that regard. Thank you, everyone. Pleasure having you with us.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Right.